1. Danny Masterson. Best known for his role as Stephen Hyde on That 70s Show, Danny Masterson was convicted in 2023 of raping 2 women at his Hollywood Hills home in the early 2000s. The trial revealed how the Church of Scientology, of which Masterson is a member, used systematic silencing tactics to protect him and discredit the victims. The victims testified that they were pressured to remain silent by the church and were even threatened with excommunication if they reported him. Despite his insistence that the encounters were consensual, Masterson faced mounting evidence, including victim statements and corroborating accounts. The case was one of the most high-profile celebrity trials in recent years. Masterson was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison, effectively ending his career and tarnishing his public image. The trial also put a spotlight on the controversial practices of the Church of Scientology. 2. Ryan Grantham. Ryan Grantham, a Canadian actor known for his roles in Riverdale and Diary of a Wimpy Kid, shocked the world in 2022 when he was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of his mother. Grantham shot his mother in the back of the head while she played piano in their home, a crime he later described as unforgivable. During the trial, it was revealed that Grantham had also planned a mass shooting, targeting Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, before ultimately turning himself in. Prosecutors described him as deeply troubled, citing his journals and videos that detailed his intentions. Grantham pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and expressed remorse during the trial. His sentencing highlighted the importance of addressing mental health issues, as it was evident he was battling severe psychological distress leading up to the crime. 3. Josh Duggar. Josh Duggar, once a star of TLC's 19 Kids and Counting, was convicted in 2021 on federal charges of child pornography possession. Investigators found shocking and explicit material on his work computer, including images of children being abused. The case horrified the public, particularly as it came after revelations that Duggar had previously molested several of his younger sisters when he was a teenager. Despite his family's conservative Christian image, Duggar's crimes painted a far darker picture. The trial included evidence of Duggar using software to try and hide his activities from authorities. In 2022, he was sentenced to 12.5 years in federal prison. His conviction has had a lasting impact on his family's once squeaky clean reputation and led to the cancellation of their spin-off show. 4. R. Kelly. The R&B singer R. Kelly was convicted in 2021 on charges of racketeering, sex trafficking, and sexual exploitation of minors. Kelly had long been accused of abusing young girls, often using his fame and influence to manipulate his victims into staying silent. The accusations spanned decades, with several survivors bravely coming forward in the 2019 docuseries Surviving R. Kelly. During his trial, prosecutors revealed that Kelly operated a complex and predatory system to recruit, isolate, and exploit victims, some as young as 14. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison, bringing a dramatic end to his once celebrated music career. His case is considered one of the most significant victories of the #MeToo movement and has sparked broader conversations about power dynamics and abuse in the entertainment industry. 5. Harvey Weinstein. The once powerful Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in prison in 2020 after being convicted of rape and sexual assault. Weinstein's downfall began in 2017 when multiple women accused him of harassment, abuse, and assault, catalyzing the global #MeToo movement.
After meeting him, I then visited his London office where I spoke with his executive assistant, Vanessa Ford, who asked me quite a bit about my life, my background, and took notes and asked me to provide a show reel.
During his trial, harrowing testimony from actresses and industry professionals revealed years of systemic abuse, with Weinstein leveraging his power to intimidate and silence victims. The case also shed light on how enablers within the industry helped shield him from accountability. Weinstein faced additional charges in California, resulting in further prison time. His conviction marked a turning point in holding powerful figures accountable for sexual misconduct and inspired countless survivors to come forward. 6. Suge Knight. Suge Knight, the co-founder of Death Row Records, was sentenced to 28 years in prison in 2018 after killing a man in a hit-and-run outside a Compton burger stand. The incident occurred during the filming of the NWA biopic Straight Outta Compton, when Knight argued with the victims before deliberately running them over with his truck. The victim, Terry Carter, died, and another man was seriously injured. Knight's legal troubles stretch back decades, including allegations of violence, intimidation, and ties to gang activity. Known for his role in shaping 1990s rap, Knight's violent reputation ultimately overshadowed his musical legacy. His conviction marked the end of an era for one of hip-hop's most notorious figures. 7. Joe Exotic. Joe Exotic, the eccentric former zoo owner and star of Netflix's Tiger King, was sentenced to 22 years in prison in 2019 for a murder-for-hire plot. Exotic was accused of hiring a hitman to kill Carol Baskin, an animal rights activist and his longtime rival. The trial also exposed numerous wildlife violations, including the illegal killing of endangered tigers and the sale of cubs. Exotic's erratic behavior and flamboyant persona made him a controversial yet fascinating figure during the COVID-19 pandemic, as Tiger King became a cultural phenomenon. Despite his conviction, Exotic has maintained his innocence and gained a devoted following, even campaigning for a presidential pardon. 8. Elizabeth Holmes. Elizabeth Holmes, the founder of the now-defunct biotech company Theranos, was convicted of fraud in 2022 for deceiving investors and patients about the capabilities of her company's blood testing technology. Once hailed as a Silicon Valley visionary, Holmes falsely claimed that her proprietary technology could perform hundreds of tests with just a few drops of blood. Her company raised billions of dollars before whistleblowers and investigative journalism exposed the truth. At trial, prosecutors highlighted how Holmes knowingly lied to secure funding, endangering patients who received inaccurate test results. Holmes, who maintained her innocence, was sentenced to 11 years in federal prison. Her dramatic rise and fall remain a cautionary tale about unchecked ambition and the consequences of misleading investors. 9. Jared Fogle. Jared Fogle, the former spokesperson for Subway, was sentenced to over 15 years in prison in 2015 for charges related to child pornography and engaging in sex acts with minors. Fogle's crimes were uncovered during an FBI investigation into his associate, Russell Taylor, who had shared explicit images with Fogle. Evidence showed years of predatory behavior, including traveling across state lines to meet underage victims. Fogle's arrest shocked the public, as he had built a reputation as a relatable, family-friendly figure through Subway's ad campaigns. His fall from grace was swift, and Subway severed ties immediately after his arrest. Fogle's sentence reflected the gravity of his crimes and marked the end of his once lucrative public career. 10. Amy Locane. Amy Locane, a former Melrose Place actress, was sentenced to 8 years in prison after a 2010 DUI crash that killed Helene Seaman, a New Jersey resident. Locane's blood alcohol level was nearly 3 times the legal limit at the time of the accident. Witnesses testified that she had been driving erratically and speeding through a residential area before colliding with Seaman's car. Over the years, Locane's case became complicated due to appeals and resentencing, with the victim's family arguing for harsher penalties. While Locane expressed remorse, the court ultimately prioritized justice for the Seaman family. Her case highlighted the devastating consequences of drunk driving and the legal complexities surrounding repeat sentencing. 11. Lori Loughlin. Lori Loughlin, best known as Aunt Becky on Full House, was embroiled in the 2019 college admissions scandal that exposed how wealthy parents bribed their children's way into elite schools. Loughlin and her husband, fashion designer Massimo Giannelli, paid $500,000 to have their 2 daughters admitted to USC as fake crew team recruits, despite neither participating in the sport. Loughlin's initial refusal to plead guilty led to public backlash, but she eventually accepted a plea deal and served 2 months in federal prison. The scandal tarnished her wholesome image and raised questions about privilege and corruption in higher education. Since her release, Laughlin has kept a low profile, though her career has yet to fully recover. 12. Felicity Huffman. Felicity Huffman, an actress known for her role in Desperate Housewives, was also implicated in the 2019 college admissions scandal. Huffman paid $15,000 to have her daughter's SAT scores fraudulently boosted by a test proctor. Unlike Lori Loughlin, Huffman quickly admitted her wrongdoing, issuing a public apology and expressing deep remorse. She served 11 days in jail, paid a $30,000 fine, and completed community service. While her relatively light sentence drew criticism, Huffman's swift acceptance of responsibility helped her recover her public image more effectively than others involved in the scandal. Her case shed light on systemic inequalities in college admissions and sparked widespread debate about privilege in academia. 13. O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson, the former NFL star and actor, is best known for his infamous 1995 acquittal in the murders of his ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend Ron Goldman. Despite his not guilty verdict in the criminal trial, he was later found liable in a civil suit and ordered to pay millions to the victims' families. In 2007, Simpson found himself in legal trouble again after leading an armed robbery in Las Vegas to recover memorabilia he claimed was stolen from him. He was convicted of robbery and kidnapping in 2008 and served 9 years in prison. Released in 2017, Simpson remains a polarizing figure, with his life continuing to generate intense public interest and media scrutiny. 14. Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby, once affectionately known as America's Dad, saw his reputation crumble after being convicted in 2018 of drugging and sexually assaulting Andrea Constand. Dozens of women came forward with similar accusations spanning decades, claiming Cosby uses fame and influence to exploit and silence them. He served 3 years of a 3 to 10 year sentence before being released in 2021 when Pennsylvania's Supreme Court overturned his conviction due to a legal technicality. While Cosby maintains his innocence, his case marked a turning point in how society addresses accusations of sexual misconduct, especially against powerful men. His conviction and release remain topics of intense public debate. 15. Chris Brown. R&B singer Chris Brown faced significant backlash in 2009 after violently assaulting his then-girlfriend, Rihanna, the night before the Grammy Awards. The graphic images of Rihanna's injuries and Brown's subsequent guilty plea made headlines worldwide. He was sentenced to probation, community service, and domestic violence counseling, though many felt his punishment was too lenient. Over the years, Brown has faced additional legal troubles, including altercations and allegations of assault. Despite these controversies, Brown has maintained a successful music career, though his actions continue to divide fans and critics. His case remains a cautionary tale about domestic violence and celebrity accountability.